I scattered the powder over a three-headed baby dragon, and in an instant, its body swelled as it prematurely evolved. The king sneered, trying to kick the dragon away, but he didn't expect the evolution to enhance its breath, not its size. Even so, he now had immortality. Not even the dragon's flames could harm him. I watched in frustration. Just a day ago, I had personally found the divine sword that could grant eternal life, a weapon so powerful that even the queen, with all her magic, could barely withstand a single strike. Using the sword, I intimidated the soldiers and disarmed them, then handed it to the demon lord, hoping he would honor his promise and send me back to the modern world. But once he had the weapon, he went to trade with the king for the immortality stone originally embedded in the sword, the true source of the king's immortality. The king betrayed the agreement, giving the demon lord a fake stone. Now both artifacts were in the king's hands, and there was nothing the demon lord and his allies could do. In the critical moment, the frog woman suddenly transformed into human form and knocked the king to the ground. I seized the opportunity, picked up the sword from the floor, and the battlefield shifted instantly. The outcome rested entirely in my hands. But instead, I slashed open a temporal rift with the sword and left the divine kingdom, abandoning my weapon behind. Though I returned to the familiar safety of home, guilt gnawed at me endlessly. The shame of abandoning my allies was unbearable. After much reflection, I resolved to face my true intentions and try to return to the divine kingdom the same way I had before. This time, I didn't succeed. In fact, my strange behavior landed me in a jail cell. Unexpectedly, I ran into the same wizard who had originally sent me to the divine kingdom. To have him cast a spell for me, I first had to retrieve his confiscated staff. Luckily, my old skills in trickery still worked, and I quickly deceived the guards. The wizard took the chance to provide a secret potion, which sent me back to the White Mountain Divine Kingdom. He used it to awaken the power of the dragon imprisoned in the dungeon, then retrieved his wand and opened a temporal rift to send me back into the Divine Kingdom. But when I reached the dungeon, I discovered the fearsome dragon was only the size of a palm. I remembered the wizard's potion and poured it over the dragon's head, but it had no effect and alerted the guards, who captured me again. Soon after, the dragon began licking the potion from the water source. Meanwhile, the demon lord and his allies were locked in the palace awaiting judgment. The king looked out the window, only moments away from embedding the immortality stone in the holy sword and gaining eternal power. Soldiers escorted me into the hall. With the artifact in hand, the king barely noticed me. I had no choice but to threaten him with modern weapons, only to be tackled from behind by the queen. A loud explosion erupted, and smoke billowed from the king's chest as he collapsed. I warned the queen not to act rashly, but she laughed. The king had already obtained immortality. Even facing the fire of a three-headed dragon, he felt no fear. To weaken him, I provoked the king, challenging him to put down his sword and duel me. But I was still mortal. Even if he wielded a simple longsword, I was no match. As the king dominated the fight, his pride swelled, and he revealed the truth about the warrior from years ago. To seize power, he and the queen had ambushed my father and taken the divine kingdom. Now, with immortality, he could rule forever. At the critical moment, the demon lord retrieved the immortality stone. We both knew that if the stone were destroyed, all eternal power would vanish. The king offered to share power with the demon lord, but the demon lord had already seen through the king's treachery and was prepared to die alongside him. At the last second, the queen swung a massive axe, severing the demon lord's arm that held the stone, returning the advantage to the king. Luckily, I fired a spike to distract him, giving the demon lord the chance to fling the stone back into his own grasp. With a single strike, the power of immortality was completely destroyed, and both the demon lord and the king turned to ash. The queen fled the castle, and without her magical support, the petrified people were restored to their original forms. The divine kingdom finally welcomed a long-awaited peace.